I got a video for you today on burning feather barbs for those of you that like to do decorative work. But I made a mistake on this bird and I did not get the feather barbs at the right angle. You know, I've done it right before. I did it wrong this last time. I'll zoom in and show you not only how I do it, but kind of a trick to help you with getting the right angle on those feather barbs. Hi, my name is Dave and I am a bird nerd. Welcome to my community, bird sculptors and painters. Now here's the close-up of that owl, and this is texturing rather than burning, but the same principle applies. What I'm showing you here is that I messed up the feather flow here. The feather barb angles are wrong. They're too wide, kind of looks like a pine cone. So I will show you on the burning how to get away from that look. I'm actually gonna have to sand all this texture off and start over, which isn't that big of a deal, but I did make that mistake and it does make the feathers look wrong. Okay, I've turned my burner on here and let the pen heat up a little bit. I'm gonna demonstrate this little tip on this. This was a practice bird for a project I did a long time ago. This is pretty different than what you would normally do on your birds. For one thing, everything is carved and burned very dark, very deep. And that's because it was for a molding project. Some of those molds, they don't pick up quite as much detail as what you want when they're pumping out a whole bunch of them. Also, because it's gonna show up better on camera, I'm gonna burn pretty hot and pretty deep here as well. Normally, you would burn very lightly and put your feather barbs very close together, but when you're burning deep, the actual burn marks actually get wide too, so you don't get as many feather barbs per inch. This is what I did on the owl. This is what would happen to me is I would put in a quill and I would start drawing feathers, and then they'd get wider and wider and wider, and they'd be at the wrong angle pretty quick. And so I found the best way for me to get around this problem was to draw in my first couple of feather barbs. I would come down a good inch or so and draw in a barb at a pretty extreme angle like that, okay? And by coming way down here and then bringing it almost all the way up to the tip, I would get the right feather angle for those first few barbs and then be able to continue it on down, you know, the shaft of the quill and the rest of the feather. I'll first burn in a quick quill, and I usually do this towards my body. So I will burn in, you know, one line here, and then I'll burn in another line right next to it, getting a little wider so that I can show that feather quill. All right, now I'll go ahead and start my burning at my extreme angle here. So I like to pull the burner towards me and follow that curve. So I'll stick that first barb down and curve it up towards the tip like that. Okay, now if you do that, now you can just follow those barb lines and close them off towards the tip there and get the appropriate angle right for your feather. Again, I'm burning really deep, I'm burning really wide, and that's because I don't want to burn this at a different pattern than the rest of this bird. But by doing this and then by following these curves, as you get further and further down this feather, the barbs are going to naturally spread out. But if you start at the tip and if you start right like that, you won't get that sort of pine coney look of, you know, your feathers getting too spread out. Man, this is really hard to do at this angle on camera, but you get the point. You saw the tip, start way down here. Let's go ahead and put in another quill real quick. Okay. So instead of starting at the tip and then working your way down, I like to start down a good 3/4 of an inch, 20 millimeters, something like that, and put that first barb line in like that. And then I can follow those barb lines and end up with the right angle for everything. So that's the tip. Don't be alarmed at the depth and the darkness that I'm burning here. Again, this is a practice bird and it was for a very specific project. Typically you would burn much lighter, much closer together, and to get your feather barbs, okay? And you'd normally be doing this on something like tupelo or a softer wood. If you enjoyed this tip, hit the subscribe button. Then you'll know when I upload more of the good stuff. You should probably also consider joining my community, bird sculptors and painters. There's a link in the description below this video, and that will get you all the best tips and tricks delivered straight to your inbox, as well as updates on all the courses that I offer. I look forward to supporting you in your journey to total bird nerd. Thank you.